Isn't this just the cutest little bow? Look, it's got a little spike on it. Welcome back to my channel, and today I'm bringing you the introduction for a new panning project. This is what I'm calling Pan More with Feeling, and it is based on the Pan Interrupted series created by Jessica and Amanda, who I'll have both linked down below, as well as a link to their playlist. If you are not aware of the Pan Interrupted series, that is a supernatural series where you pan a product for every episode of the show Supernatural. Like I said, I am doing something very similar, but I am basing it on the Buffy the Vampire Slayer series. So I am panning a product for every episode of the series, and there are 7 seasons. I guess a little twist on that as well is that while I'm going along and panning products, I'm also watching that episode of the series before I select my product. So I'm also doing a rewatch of the entire series along with this project. So it will happen at the same speed as this project. So to recap all that rambling, I am doing a series where I pan a product with whatever goal I choose for that product for every single episode of the Buffy the Vampire Slayer series. I did want to just add in here, I know there is a lot of controversy around Joss Whedon, the creator of the series. But I don't particularly want to get into that at the moment. I will just say that it is rather disappointing to have your thoughts and opinions on someone who you have a certain idea about them crushed. But I think the show itself, as its own standalone creation, and the actors who made it reality, and the producers, and all those people, the writers, they made something brilliant. So I thought that I still would like to give homage to that series by doing this project. And I would like to thank Jessica specifically, who I reached out to see if it was okay if I did this, and I would like to thank her for giving me permission. So let's stop dilly-daddling around and we will jump straight in. So we will be starting with the first season. There are 12 episodes in the first season, but I am only going to be rolling in 6 to start with. So let's jump straight into the first 6 episodes and the products I chose to represent them. So the first episode is called Welcome to the Hellmouth. This is essentially an introductory episode. It is the hook, line, and sinker. The main purpose of the episode is to catch people's interest in the show, which is definitely illustrated by the closing scene, which comes up with "to be continued" over the top. If that didn't get you when you first started watching it, I do not know what would have. But the episode's main purpose is to introduce you to all the main characters, especially Buffy, Xander, Giles, and Willow, and introduce you to the concept of vampires. So the episode starts with Buffy moving to Sunnydale, starting her first day at school. She goes through the episode meeting all the main cast. She's very hesitant to step back into the world of vampire slaying. She had her experiences in LA. If anyone has seen the movie, hint, hint, it's essentially a follow-on from that storyline. So she very much is like, nah, I ain't gonna be slaying no vampires. But unfortunately, the world of a slayer never gives in, and she gets pulled back into that story, that responsibility. The episode does end with a cliffhanger. Like I said, it has to be continued over the screen. So with that in mind, I kind of figure the first episode is just a priming episode. It is laying down the base, catching your interest, putting in a good foundation for you to be interested in the show. So with that in mind, I decided to roll in to represent the first episode a primer. So this is a face primer. This is the Maybelline Baby Skin Instant Pore Eraser. I definitely decided to go with the Baby Skin line because going back to the first episode, Buffy, Xander, Willow, all of the main casts, they are such babies, and that is definitely not how it ends. They're like little slayers just back in the beginning. So I decided to go with Baby Skin. So currently I am up here, and my goal is to use it up here on the screen somewhere, or maybe up here. No, most likely over here. I will put up the weights and my goal and what episode this represents, all the information you may want to know. But like I said, my goal is to use this up. Episode 2 is called The Harvest. And the concept of this episode is that the master is trapped in a portal dimensional shift thing between two worlds. And a prophecy comes around every century or so where the master can create a vessel, and the vessel can go around killing souls, taking lives, and the energy from those souls transfers to the master so he can break free of his prison. The big harvest takes place in the Bronze, which is a nightclub set within Sunnydale. And obviously Buffy and the yet-to-be-named Scooby Gang show up to save the day. Therefore, I decided to actually roll in an eyeshadow. This is another Maybelline product, and it is called Bronze Addict. So I figured, considering that the bronze is where the harvest goes down, it would be the perfect choice for this episode. This is what it looks like here. And I'll give you a swatch. And my goal is to hit pan. I'm pretty sure I got this as part of the Melbourne secret sale box that I got a couple years ago. I'll put a link up to that video. But that is what it looks like here. So it is just a basic brown, I guess, transition shade. And like I said, my goal is to hit pan. Episode 3 is Witch. Buffy decides that she wants to try out for the cheer team to be a cheerleader at Sunnydale High, and she meets Amy, who Willow has known for a while. We get a bit of history about Amy and her family. Her mum was a cheerleading superstar type character, but Amy isn't the best at cheer, but is desperate to get on the team. Some really strange things start happening, and the cheerleaders start getting injured or going blind. And the guys quickly realize that maybe there is something supernatural afoot, and there could be a witch causing the drama. I don't want to give away any of the plot twist, but I decided to roll in another eyeshadow for this episode. And the eyeshadow I've decided to roll in is from the Revolution, the Emily Edit the Once palette. And I'm sure anyone who has this palette has already guessed which shadow I'm going to be rolling in. This is Cheer. So this reddy shade down here, if you can see that. So that's the one I'm going to roll in. This is what it looks like. Here is a swatch. Just a deep dark red. Actually, this is even perfect for one of the Sunnydale colours for their team. So that red right here is for Cheer down the bottom. That will be rolling in for Witch. And my goal is to hit pan on that one. Episode 4 is Teacher's Pet, where we have a substitute teacher replace our science teacher. She is a very attractive woman, and Xander and another character called Blaine are incredibly attracted to her. She does invite them over to her house to help with a project on creating a bug egg nest for a praying mantis, and we quickly discover that all is not as it seems. So not only is the substitute teacher rather creepy and inappropriate considering the way that story is going, she is also rather supernatural and not entirely human. So you've probably figured out it has something to do with praying mantises. And I guess to give it away, the substitute teacher is a praying mantis that to fertilize her eggs needs both a virgin and needs to eat them while the mating is happening. Of course, the day is once again saved and there is no eating that we see on screen, but because of that concept, I decided to roll in a lipstick. This is the Sephora Lip Stories lipstick in the shade Yum Yum. Ha, I am funny. It is a nice brown color, and I'll give you a swatch. I love a good brown lipstick, and I am excited to use this one, and my goal is to use it 50. Actually, I should show you how high it is. So that's how much we have in it. I will draw a line in my book so I'm aware, but it is to use 50 times. Episode 5 is Never Kill a Boy on the First Date. In this episode, Buffy has a crush on classmate Owen, who does ask her out. And the entire episode is her, one, trying to go on this date, and then her also while she's on this date. The only problem is that while she's trying to go on this date, there is evil afoot. There's a prophecy where 5 people will die and the anointed one will rise. And essentially, Buffy and Owen, as well as everybody else, end up in a rather dangerous situation inside the funeral home where a vampire rises, who we are sure is the anointed one. And Buffy has to keep Owen from knowing what is going on while still keeping him alive. But things are not as they seem, and it definitely has a very interesting ending. This is also one of the episodes where Buffy first has to make a hard choice that is to keep her identity safe and keep people around her safe. I will say though, there is a comment that Buffy makes about Willow and Xander knowing, the drill and trying to keep themselves safe and not actively going out to get themselves killed. And while I would 100% agree for that for Willow, not so much for Xander. He definitely has some issues with proving his masculinity, and at times we're only 5 episodes in at this point and he's already done some real stupid stuff. So I don't 100% agree with her statement, and I understand that you don't want lots of people knowing that you're a slayer, but it was a bit of a weird thing that was going down, considering 2 episodes ago she's letting these rando people she's met just first day of school know that she's a slayer. I guess in that case though, considering the scenario, she didn't really have much choice with them knowing. But back to the topic of hand. For that episode, I have actually rolled in a cuticle oil. This is the secret cuticle oil. I am currently up to here, and my goal is to use this up. The reason why I've rolled in a cuticle oil is because the whole concept of the episode is trying to prevent the anointed one from rising. And the word anointed makes me think of oil. I don't particularly know why. I think because when you're getting anointed, sometimes there's oil involved. Is that what happens? I'm not really sure. But for some reason, my brain goes straight to oil. So I have rolled in a cuticle oil. Last but not least, we have episode 6, The Pack. This is one of my favorite episodes, but I will say after rewatching it, I have questions. So this episode follows the gang when they go on a school trip to the zoo. There are a group of bullies. There's 4 of them, 2 girls and 2 boys. And they follow somebody into the closed off hyena exhibit where they are trying to bully someone. Xander goes in to stop it from happening, and essentially the hyenas possess them with the spirit of the hyena. So the 5 people, so that's the 4 bullies and Xander, start to exhibit hyena traits and act as a pack. They do some really horrible things. For example, Xander is incredibly mean to Willow. They kill and eat a pig, and the group of 4, not including Xander, actually kill and eat the principal. Buffy, Willow, and Giles are able to reverse the possession, and all is well. But here is where my main question comes in. So at the end of the episode, Willow, Buffy, and Xander are walking through school, and they're kind of talking about the things that happened while Xander was possessed. And Xander says that he can't remember anything past going into the hyena exhibit in the first place. Giles then appears after Buffy and Willow leave and says that he has not read anywhere that memory loss is part of the experience, where Xander asks him to keep it a secret because he's embarrassed and shamed of the things that happened while he was possessed. It's a little funny tidbit, but that means those 4 teenagers, the other 4 that were possessed, remember killing and eating their principal. That is never touched on. They just get unpossessed and then are all scared and run away, and you never hear or see anything. That would be very traumatic. I think they would need therapy. I think it would have been better if they couldn't remember, because, like, seriously, I want to know more about that. I want to hear about their trauma. I want to hear about how they respond to this trauma. That's messed up if they can remember killing and eating a guy. So yes, that's my question. Oh, that's messed up. That is so messed up. But like I said, the pack is about these guys being possessed by hyenas, by the spirit of hyenas. So for that, I decided to roll in another eyeshadow. This is from my Revolution Beautiful Darkness palette, and the shadow I'm rolling in is Possessed. It's this one right here. You will recognize this palette from my Beauty A to Z project, but we're going to be working on Possessed. Let me give you a swatch. It is a kind of greyed brown, so a taupey brown colour. That is it, just there. And my goal for this one is to hit pan. So those are the 6 products that I'm rolling in. I am trying to go for products that will take a little bit longer to hit go, especially because I am planning to update this series every 2 or 3 months. So I don't want to be flying through the products, but I also do want to have a pretty continual rotation of products, at least having 1 or 2 rolling out every update, because I do want to keep that momentum going of getting through my items and getting through the episodes. Like I said, there are 7 seasons of Buffy. I have touched on the idea in my head about also incorporating their sister show, its spin-off series Angel, whether I should then, when Angel comes about, watch those shows in tandem and do that. I've had that idea. I'm not sure if I'm going to do it, but if that's something you would like to see, please let me know. Like I said at the start, this series is called Pan More with Feeling. Those of you who are Buffy fans will know that name is pulled from the musical episode Once More with Feeling, and I'm really excited to get started on this project. If you are interested in joining me, please do so. I would love to have you come along for the ride. Just let me know down in the comments if you're going to be joining in. But that is all I've got for you today. So until next time, I'm Verity. This was the introduction to Pan More with Feeling, and now to the outro.